Energy Media readers, today we're going to be talking about a favorite theme of energy media, and that is the foreign-funded activist conspiracy narrative. And to join me today is Sandy Garossino, former lawyer, or former prosecutor anyway, and now a writer and columnist with the National Observer. So welcome to the interview, Sandy.
Thanks for having me on, Markham.
Now, you and I have been, you've kind of debunked that whole foreign-funded activist trope from the U.S. Foundation side and found it without merit. I've done it with from the Canadian environmental group side, found it without merit. But this isn't, our conversation today isn't about the facts of foreign-funded activism. It's really about a political strategy by the BC Liberals to use or to resurrect foreign-funded activism as a deflection from some of the things that were going on in British Columbia news. So I'll turn it over to you.
Well, last week started out with a bang because the Cullen Commission, which is a public inquiry initiated by the NDP government into allegations of fraud, corruption, and basically money laundering of billions of dollars of foreign capital through the BC real estate, casino markets, luxury autos, and all kinds of all range of professions and sectors are allegedly involved in this, and the BC Liberals were kind of running the show while this was all going on. And there's lots of public concern about the degree to which they knew and either turned a blind eye or perhaps even for whatever reason, innocent or otherwise, facilitated that money laundering.
So from your point of view, the Liberals raising the foreign-funded activism, foreign-funded protesters up in the Wet'suwet'en blockade and the other well, we won't call them illegal, but rail blockades in support of the Wet'suwet'en, all of that was raised by the Liberals as a distraction.
I think it was a perfect moment for them to get themselves off the headlines, out of the newspapers. It was and one of the big tells was that former Solicitor General Rich Coleman, who is strongly, intimately linked with a lot of the deep public concerns about his involvement in the casino file and other elements of this scandal, he, without unceremoniously and very quietly, slipped out into the night on Friday afternoon with an announcement that he wouldn't be seeking re-election. And that, to me, is your tell as to what last week was all about. Gotcha.
Now, this pops up every once in a while. I personally think that we've seen peak activism, interest in Canadians. But your take on this is that there will always be a certain percentage of voters for whom this is a hot button issue.
Well, I think so, and the key here is foreign. And first of all, what we have to remember are the phrases like foreign-funded and radicals and foreign-funded radicals. All of this, even the names Soros and Rockefeller. These are triggers. These are emotional triggers. They're well known in political circles as emotional triggers. I was one of the people who was very strongly associated with the concerns about money laundering and global capital flight into the BC economy. And there's no question about it that raised a lot of, irrespective of the legitimacy of the concern, which I think was very real, it also inevitably and in a very ugly way fanned racist sentiment. I mean, you just scratch this and it just spurs people. People get very excited about it. So I think it's an evergreen issue, and it'll always reemerge at some point or other where it's opportune for politicians to do it.
Political dog whistles, we know them well, don't we? Well, look,
Yeah.
if that's the case, and this is going to be popping up on the public radar on an occasional basis, that only means that you and I will have an opportunity to do more interviews about it. Thank you very much for this, Sandy.
Thanks, Markham.